The moment my sister clicked to the slide showing my thighs with the caption "Thunder Down Under," I knew exactly what to do. I stood up, walked to the microphone, and said 8 words that changed everything. Actually, I have a surprise guest for tonight. The room went silent. My brother's smirk faltered. My mother's champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. And that's when Dr. Marcus Chen walked through the door. Hey everyone, before I tell you how I turned the most humiliating night of my life into the most empowering one, tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. I'm curious if toxic family roasts are universal or if my family just won the dysfunction lottery. Now, let's jump into the story. 3 months before my 35th birthday, my sister Rachel called me with that fake sweetness that always meant trouble. So Jess, we're planning something really special for your birthday this year. She cooed into the phone. Mom's letting us use her country club. It's going to be unforgettable. I should have known. The word unforgettable from Rachel's mouth was like a snake's rattle before it strikes. My family had this thing about birthdays, not normal celebrations with cake and presents. No, they turned them into these performative spectacles where whoever's birthday it was became the entertainment. And by entertainment, I mean target practice. What kind of special? I asked, already feeling my stomach tighten. Oh, you'll love it. We're doing a roast, like those celebrity ones on Comedy Central? It'll be hilarious. A roast, for my 35th birthday. The birthday where society already tells you your eggs are dying and you've officially missed the boat on everything that matters. And my family wanted to make jokes about it. Rachel, I really don't think. Oh, come on, don't be so sensitive. It's all in good fun. Besides, you're always saying you have a great sense of humor about yourself. There it was, the trap. If I said no, I was sensitive and couldn't take a joke. If I said yes, I was signing up for public humiliation disguised as love. Fine, I said, already planning my counter move. But I get to invite some people too. Of course, the more the merrier. She had no idea what she'd just agreed to. The next day, I did something I'd never done before. I Googled comedian therapists near me. Look, I know that sounds insane, but here's the thing about growing up in my family. You learn that the only way to fight passive aggression is with strategic warfare. And I needed someone who could do both comedy and psychology, because what my family did wasn't just mean jokes, it was systematic emotional demolition wrapped in birthday paper. That's how I found Dr. Marcus Chen. Harvard-trained psychologist by day, stand-up comedian by night. His website tagline read, "Healing through humor but make it hurt first." Perfect. I called him that afternoon. "I need to hire you for a very specific gig," I said. "My family is throwing me a roast for my birthday, but they don't know the difference between comedy and cruelty. I need someone who can flip the script." There was a pause, then he laughed. "You want me to roast the roasters? I want you to do whatever it takes to make them understand that jokes about someone's weight, relationship status, and career aren't funny. They're weapons. Lady, you just became my favorite client. When's the party?" For the next 2 months, I met with Marcus weekly. Not for therapy, though God knows I needed it. We were strategizing. I gave him everything: family dynamics, past traumas they'd use as punchlines, their own secrets and insecurities. My brother Jake's 3 affairs. Rachel's maxed out credit cards she was hiding from her husband. Mom's prescription pill situation that everyone pretended not to notice. "This is some Game of Thrones level family dysfunction," Marcus said during one session, scribbling notes. "You sure you want to go nuclear? They've been going nuclear on me for 35 years. I replied. "I'm just finally fighting back with the same weapons." But here's where things get interesting. 2 weeks before the party, I got a call from my ex-boyfriend Daniel. "Hey Jess, weird question. Did your brother invite me to your birthday roast?" My blood went cold. "What?" "Yeah, Jake called me, said they wanted to surprise you with some friendly faces from your past. He offered me $300 to tell that story about, Cabo. The Cabo story. Where I got food poisoning and, let's just say it was the least sexy moment of my entire relationship history. And my brother was literally paying my ex to humiliate me with it. Daniel, I'll pay you $500 to come and say something completely different. Jess, I wasn't going to do it anyway. Your family is messed up. But what did you have in mind? Oh, this was getting good. The country club looked beautiful. I'll give them that. Fairy lights, open bar, about 50 guests. Everyone from my mom's book club to my brother's golf buddies to cousins I hadn't seen in years. Rachel had even set up a small stage with a podium and a screen for what I assumed was a slideshow. I wore red, not because I felt confident, but because I'd read somewhere that red makes you look powerful even when you're terrified. And despite all my preparation, I was terrified. There's the birthday girl. Mom rushed over, already 3 wines deep. Honey, you look brave in that dress. Brave, not beautiful, not stunning. Brave, like wearing a dress that showed my arms was an act of courage. Thanks, Mom. You look medicated. She blinked, unsure if I'd just insulted her. I smiled sweetly and moved on. The first hour was standard family gathering torture. Aunts asking why I wasn't married. Uncles making jokes about my biological clock. Rachel's friends, all mom bloggers with perfect highlights, clustered together whispering and glancing my way. Then Jake clinked his glass. All right everyone, let's get this roast started. The crowd cheered. My stomach dropped, even knowing what was coming. Even with Marcus sitting quietly at the back table in his unassuming blazer, I felt like a lamb at slaughter. Rachel took the mic first. My dear sister Jessica, she began, fake tears already forming. Where do I even start? You've been such an inspiration to me. You've shown me that it's totally possible to be 35, single, childless, and still pretend you're happy. The crowd laughed. That uncomfortable laugh when people aren't sure if something's funny or cruel. But seriously, Jess has always been the smart one in the family. She went to college, got her master's degree, and now she works in, what is it again? Marketing? Social media? I honestly can't keep track because she changes jobs more than she changes her relationship status on Facebook. Which is saying something because that flip-flops between single and it's complicated every other week. More laughter. Louder this time. I kept smiling, fingers wrapped around my wine glass so tight I thought it might shatter. Then came the slideshow. The first slide was a baby photo of me, chubby and grinning. Here's Jess at her peak attractiveness, Rachel announced. The next slide, me at 13, braces and acne. The awkward phase that never quite ended. Then came the recent photos. Pictures from family vacations where I was caught at unflattering angles. A zoom in of my arms at last Christmas dinner. And then the piece de resistance, a photo someone had taken of me at the beach last summer from behind, with the caption Thunder Down Under. Now, we all know Jess has been trying to lose weight. Rachel continued. She's tried keto, paleo, Weight Watchers, intermittent fasting. At this point, I think the only thing she hasn't tried is actually sticking to something. The laughter was cruel now. Full-bodied, alcohol-fueled mean. That's when Jake took over. My turn. My turn. He grabbed the mic like a frat boy at karaoke. So I actually reached out to some of Jess's exes to get their perspective for tonight. My blood ran cold. This wasn't part of what Daniel had told me. Couldn't get many responses, which honestly tells you everything you need to know. But I did manage to track down her college boyfriend Tom. Tom? Tom? The one who cheated on me with my roommate? A video message started playing on the screen. But it wasn't Tom. It was clearly Jake's friend Pete, doing a bad impression. Jessica was great, but dating her was like trying to hug a cactus. Prickly, defensive, and honestly after a while you just stop trying. The room erupted. My mother was actually wiping tears from laughing so hard. That's when I stood up. Wow, I said, walking toward the stage. This is amazing. Really, Rachel, Jake, you've outdone yourselves. I took the mic from my brother's hand. Actually, since we're doing surprises tonight, I have one of my own. The room quieted, sensing a shift. See, when I heard you were planning this roast, I thought, my family's comedy skills are about as developed as their emotional intelligence. So I brought in a professional. I gestured to the back of the room. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Marcus Chen, clinical psychologist and professional comedian. Marcus stood up, straightening his blazer. The room buzzed with confusion. Who was this guy? Why was he a doctor? What was happening? As he walked to the stage, I saw Rachel's face go pale. Jake's smirk completely disappeared. Mom set down her wine glass. Marcus took the mic with the confidence of someone who'd performed in actual comedy clubs, not country club cruelty sessions. Thank you, Jessica, and thank you all for that display. You know, in my profession, both professions actually, we have terms for what I just witnessed. He paused, scanning the room. In comedy, we call it hack material. In psychology, we call it projection. Someone gasped. The air in the room shifted like pressure dropping before a storm. Let's start with you, Rachel, Marcus said, turning to my sister with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. That slideshow was something. Really creative use of body shaming disguised as humor. Tell me, is that the same creativity you use to hide your shopping addiction from your husband? Because honey, having 3 secret credit cards isn't a personality trait, it's a cry for help. Rachel's mouth fell open. Someone in the back actually said, "Oh shit," and those jokes about Jessica's weight. Interesting, coming from someone who had lip suction last year and told everyone it was a juice cleanse. Yeah, Jessica told me about that. She also told me she drove you to the appointment and held your hand during recovery. But sure, let's make fun of her natural body. He turned to Jake. And you, my man, hiring fake exes to humiliate your sister? That's dedication. Almost as dedicated as you were to your side pieces. What were their names again? Monica from accounting? Sarah from the gym? Oh wait, there was also Tom's wife. Yeah, Tom, the ex you tried to impersonate. Funny thing about that, Tom's actually here tonight. The real Tom stood up from a corner table. Yeah, Jake, thanks for reminding everyone how you slept with my wife while pretending to be my friend. The room exploded into whispers. Jake's wife grabbed her purse and stormed toward the exit. Amanda, wait, Jake ran after her, but she was already gone. Marcus continued, unfazed. Now, I could keep going. I could talk about how this entire family uses humors as a weapon because they're too emotionally stunted to have real conversations. I could point out that making fun of Jessica for being single is really just jealousy because she's the only one here who's actually happy. He looked directly at my mother. I could even discuss how the matriarch of this family pops Xanax like Tic Tacs and then wonders why her children turned out to be emotional terrorists. Mom stood up so fast her chair fell backward. How dare you? How dare I? Marcus laughed. Lady, you just spent 20 minutes laughing at your daughter being publicly humiliated on her birthday. You want to talk about dare? That's when things got physical. My cousin Brad, drunk and trying to be a hero, rushed the stage. You can't talk to my aunt like that. He tried to grab Marcus, but Marcus simply stepped aside, and Brad went tumbling into the podium. The laptop connected to the projector went flying, spilling wine everywhere. The screen flickered and suddenly started playing something else entirely. Rachel's Facebook messages. I don't know how it happened. Maybe Brad hit something when he fell. Maybe it was cosmic justice. But there it was, in giant letters on the screen, Rachel's messages to her personal trainer about their affair. Oh my God, turn it off. Rachel screamed, running toward the laptop. But the damage was done. Her husband had seen everything. You know what? Marcus said, calmly adjusting the mic while chaos erupted around him. I came here to do comedy, but this is just sad. Jessica, you want to say something? He handed me the mic. The room was in complete disorder. Jake was gone, chasing his wife. Rachel was crying, trying to explain to her husband. Mom was standing frozen, face red with rage or shame. I couldn't tell which. Yeah, I said into the mic. I do want to say something. Everyone who was left turned to look at me. For 35 years I've been the punching bag of this family. The fat joke, the single joke, the at least we're not Jessica's joke. And I took it because I thought that's what family did. I thought love meant letting people hurt you and calling it humor. I looked at each remaining family member. But here's the thing I learned in actual therapy. Not this performance art cruelty you call love. Boundaries aren't mean. They're necessary, and mine start now. I walked over to the birthday cake, this beautiful 3-tier monstrosity that probably cost more than my car payment. This is the last birthday you'll ever plan for me. The last event where you get to make me the entertainment. The last time you mistake my kindness for weakness. I picked up the cake knife. And for those of you who think I'm being too sensitive, or that I can't take a joke, you're right. I can't take your jokes. Because they're not jokes. They're abuse with a laugh track. I cut myself a huge piece of cake, picked it up with my bare hands, and took a bite. Frosting covered my fingers, probably got on my face. I didn't care. Marcus, you want some cake? Don't mind if I do, he said, walking over. Daniel appeared from his table. Room for one more. Always, I said. As the three of us stood there eating cake with our hands like absolute savages, my mother finally found her voice. You've ruined everything. This family will never recover from this. Good, I said, mouthful of chocolate cake. It needed ruining. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, but not before turning back one last time. You'll regret this, Jessica. When you're alone on your next birthday, you'll regret this. Mom, I called after her. I've been alone at every birthday. At least next year I'll be alone in peace. The party cleared out pretty quickly after that. Turns out when you expose affairs, addiction and decades of dysfunction, people suddenly remember they have early meetings tomorrow. Marcus, Daniel and I ended up at a 24-hour diner, still in our formal clothes, dying of laughter over milkshakes. That was, Daniel said, the most insane thing I've ever witnessed. And I once saw a man fight a flamingo at a zoo. Please tell me someone filmed it, Marcus said. That could be my entire next special. Oh, my cousin definitely filmed it, I said, checking my phone. It's already on TikTok. 14,000 views and climbing. My phone was blowing up. Messages from family members calling me everything from brave to brutal. Rachel's husband thanking me for inadvertently exposing the affair. Jake's wife asking for my therapist's number. And then a text from an unknown number. Hi Jessica. This is your Aunt Linda, the one who never comes to family events. I saw the video. Good for you, sweetheart. They've needed someone to stand up to them for years. Happy birthday. I started crying. Not sad tears, not even happy tears, just tears. Like something that had been frozen in me for decades was finally melting. You okay? Daniel asked. Yeah, I said, wiping my eyes with a napkin. I'm just realizing I've been performing for my family my whole life, playing the role of the family disappointment so they could feel better about themselves. And I just quit, mid-performance, and it feels incredible. Marcus raised his milkshake. To quitting toxic performances, to hiring therapist comedians, Daniel added. To boundaries, I said. We clinked glasses. I'm writing this on my 36th birthday. I'm sitting on a beach in Costa Rica, alone but not lonely. My phone is full of messages from people who actually love me, not the performance of me. Rachel and I don't talk anymore. She's in therapy now, according to mutual friends. Her husband left her, but honestly that's probably for the best. Jake and his wife are in counseling. He sent me an apology email 6 months ago. I haven't responded yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Mom still calls sometimes, usually after wine. She leaves voicemails about how I destroyed the family. I don't listen to them anymore, but I don't delete them either. Evidence, Marcus calls it, for when I doubt whether I did the right thing. The video of the roast went viral. Woman hires therapist to destroy family roast got 3 million views. The comments are split between people calling me a hero and people calling me horrible. Both might be right. Marcus and I stayed friends. He actually used the story in his new special, with my permission. He sends me royalty checks that I donate to charity. Daniel and I didn't get back together, if you're wondering. But we're friends now, real friends. The kind who can sit in comfortable silence and eat cake with their hands. Have you ever had your family mistake cruelty for comedy? Have you ever been the designated punching bag at family events? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and trust me, you're not alone in this. Because here's what I learned. Family isn't the people who share your DNA. It's the people who see you, actually see you, and choose to love what they see. It's the people who laugh with you, not at you. It's the people who show up when the performance ends and you're just you. My parties now have 3 rules. No mockery, no cruelty disguised as jokes, and absolutely no slideshows unless they're pictures of puppies. You don't like the rules? Don't come. And you know what? The right people always show up. The cake is always chocolate. And for the first time in my entire life, I actually look forward to my birthday. That's the thing about boundaries. Everyone warns you about the bridges you'll burn. Nobody tells you about the peace you'll find on the other side of the fire. Happy birthday to me.